Hola, estudiantes. Today's lesson is going to teach you how to state that people like, dislike, or even love nouns, which are people, places, things, or ideas. First, I would like to start off with just a little bit of review by how we learned to state that people liked verbs or actions. And how we learned to do that was we chose who was going to be liking the verb. Me gusta, I like. Te gusta, you like. And le gusta, he, she, it, or you formal like. And then all you had to do was add on the verb that the person would be saying that they like to do. So, for example, me gusta hablar. I like to speak español, Spanish. Te gusta hablar español. You like to speak Spanish. So on and so forth. So that formula consisted of choosing me, te, or le, adding gusta, and then very simply the verb. So for example, me gusta dibujar. I like to draw. Then we learned how to say that someone dislikes a verb. And all we simply did was put no in front of the construction. So, no me gusta correr. I do not like to run. No te gusta correr. You do not like to run. And no le gusta correr. He, she, it, or you do not like to run or does not like to run. So again, you put no anytime you're going to make the sentence negative, the statement negative, you put no in front of the sentence. No me gusta correr. And then lastly, we learned how to say that people do not like actions at all. And what we did with that was we took the negative statement and we added nada right after gusta. So to say, I do not like to study at all, no me gusta nada estudiar. And if you remember, this word order is a little different. In English, we say, I do not like to study at all. But literally in Spanish, you are saying, no me gusta nada estudiar. I do not like at all to study. Okay, so to say that you don't like something at all, you say no, you put no, and then plus you choose who is not liking the action, which is me, te, or le, and then gusta, nada, and then the verb. So that was just a little bit of review. Alright, so now we're going to learn to state that someone likes or dislikes nouns, which is a little different. And then a little later in the lesson, we're going to also learn how to state that someone even loves nouns. So the first thing I need to go over are some basic rules to follow when stating that someone likes, dislikes, or loves nouns. The first rule is that you need to know which indirect object pronoun to use. And the indirect object pronouns in Spanish are me, te, le, nos, os, les. Half of them you've already learned. However, you did not learn that they mean me, you, him, her, it, or you formal. And those are the ones that you've already learned. Now there are three other ones. Nos means us. Os is the you all familiar, the one that comes from Spain, so it's essentially like vosotros. And les, them, or you all, formally. All right, so those are the indirect object pronouns, so you need to know which one of those to use. Secondly, the second rule is you need to decide if the statement is singular or plural, and then use the appropriate grammar and vocabulary to go along with that. For example, when you say, I like one singular thing, you're going to use me gusta, because gusta is the singular conjugation. When you're going to say that you love one singular thing, then you're going to use me encanta, because encanta is the singular conjugation. Then, if you are going to say you like plural things, some more than one thing, you're going to use me gustan. So you add an N to the end because the plural conjugation is gustan, the AN ending for AR verb conjugation. And then lastly, if you are going to be saying that you love more than one thing, then you would say me encantan, because again, that is the plural conjugation. Okay, so that's the second rule, is determine if it's singular or plural. Rule number 3 is always include the definite article, which are el, la, los, and las. And you have to always include this with the noun in the statement. Some examples of this would be me gusta la hamburguesa. I like the hamburger. Or me gustan las hamburguesas. I like the hamburgers. Two more examples would be me encanta el pastel. I love the cake. Or me encantan los pasteles. I love the cakes or the pastries. All right, so those are three key rules that you need to remember when you are learning how to say you like, dislike, or love nouns. One other thing I need to go over with you is that the word order and translations are different from English to Spanish. So I know a lot of times when you are learning Spanish or any language for that matter, you try to compare them apples to apples. You try to make Spanish make sense the way English makes sense, but that does not always work. So in English, we say, I like strawberries. But in Spanish, that's not exactly what you're literally saying. Me gustan las fresas. The literal translation would be more like the strawberries are pleasing to me, or the strawberries please me. So gustar, which is the infinitive form of gusta and gustan, really, we say in English it means to like. And when we translate it, that's what we say because that makes sense in English. But really, it's to be pleasing or to enjoy. Okay? The other one, encanta and encantan, is very interesting because it's very hard to translate that literally and have it make complete sense in English. So we say, I love strawberries. In English, we use love for everything. We have one word for love. But in Spanish, they have different levels of love. And so when we say, me encantan las fresas, a rough literal translation of that would be more like the strawberries are very pleasing to me. So it's like gusta, but it's a step above it. In Spanish, you don't really use the word love for things. That's going to be a different verb that you'll learn later, amar. That's really to love. But we say it means we translate it, I love strawberries, because that makes sense in English. Okay, another good way to think of the verb encantar is to remember that it more accurately means gustar mucho, to like a lot, or to be delighted by something. So a more accurate translation might be the strawberries delight me. Okay, but just so you know that if you're trying to literally make it make sense, just know that there aren't any perfect translations for the words like, dislike, delight, disgust, love in Spanish, just because the guidelines are different between English to Spanish. And so having an exact translation can get a little tricky. So it's just good to have a base understanding of that before we move forward. Okay, let's go through some examples of making the statement that people like pizza. So again, the first rule is to determine the indirect object pronoun, and your choices of those are me, te, and le, nos, os, les. So if I'm going to like the pizza, I'm going to say me. You would be te. He, she, it, or you formal would be le. We like it would be nos. You all os, and they like, or you all formal like would be les. Okay? Now the word order is different here. So if you're trying to figure out where the subject and the verb and the noun are, they're going to be different from where they are in Spanish, because you are literally saying here, the pizza is pleasing to me, okay? Or saying, me gusta el té, the tea pleases me, okay? Again, you would not talk like that in English because you'd probably get some weird looks. But in Spanish, that's literally what you're saying. So again, you pick the indirect object pronoun, and then the second rule is you decide if the statement is singular or plural. So for the example purpose of saying that someone likes pizza, you are making a singular statement. So that's why we say gusta. That's why in this example we have gusta. And then the third rule was that you pick the definite article. For pizza, it's feminine, so la. So we have me gusta la, and then you add the noun, pizza. Okay? Let's see another example, but how you make it negative. How to state that people do not like nouns is exactly the same way you state that people do, except you're just going to make the statement negative by adding the no in front of the sentence. So let's say we want to state that someone does not like soda. Let's say we want to say he or she does not like soda. So we're going to say no at the beginning, and then le gusta, with le, he or she, gusta, because again it's a singular statement, just soda is one, and then el refresco, so the noun. So no, the negative, indirect object pronoun, gusta or gustan, depending on if it's singular or plural. Always include the definite article and the noun. Okay, lastly, how to state that people do not like nouns at all is you need to add one extra element to that, which is the word at all, nada. Okay, so now let's say we want to make the statement, you do not like peas at all. So first we add the negative. We decide the indirect object pronoun, which if we're saying you, it would be te. The next thing we need to determine is if peas is singular or plural. So they are plural. So we say gustan instead of gusta. And then right after that, we need to say at all, because remember, this word order is a little different. So you're not really saying you do not like peas at all. You are literally saying you do not like at all the peas. Okay, so yes, it sounds weird, but again, Spanish works a little differently. So we have no te gusta nada, and then the definite article, we always have to include that. So in this case, it's plural, so it's los and masculine. And then peas, guisantes. Okay? So that is how you state that someone likes, does not like, and does not like at all nouns. You have to include all of those little elements. And it may not seem like it matters very much because they seem insignificant when comparing the grammar to English, because a lot of these things we don't do. But these little details do make you sound like you know what you're talking about, or you really don't know what you're talking about in Spanish. All right, finally, we're going to learn how to state that someone loves a noun. And for this, we're not going to use gusta anymore because gusta means like. The words to use for love when you're talking about nouns in Spanish is either encanta or encantan, whether it's singular or plural. So encantan we're going to use for singular statements, encantan we're going to use for plural. All right, so let's go through how the steps to state that someone loves nouns. Now remember, we already went over that you're not really saying love. This is an extra level to like, but we use love in English, so that's the way we're going to be translating these examples. So we go through all the same steps that we did with saying you like nouns, but now we're just going to change the vocabulary to encanta or encantan. So again, now let's use the example, they love pastries. So we decide the indirect object pronoun, which would in this case would be les. We decide if the statement is going to be singular or plural, and in this case pastries is plural. So we're going to say encantan, les encantan, and then always add the definite article, which would be los, and then the noun, which is pasteles. One interesting rule you need to remember is that in Spanish, it is grammatically incorrect to state that one does not love a noun. Instead, the statement is going to degrade to say the person does not like the noun. So an example of this might be someone trying to say, or desiring to say, I do not love bacon. No me encanta el tocino. And as weird as that may be, I know some people don't love bacon, although the entire world seems to love bacon. But at any rate, you would not make that statement. You would change encanta, take that out, and you're going to degrade the level of like to the step below it, which is gusta. So no me gusta el tocino, and that is a grammatically correct statement. So you just need to remember that you never make encanta negative. You are going to make it the step below, which is gusta. So no me gusta. Okay, so before we go any further, let's review all 4 of these rules. Rule number 1, always know which indirect object pronoun to use in the sentence. So if you're talking about yourself, me. If you're talking about you, familiar, te. If you're talking about him, her, it, or you formally, or any singular subject, you're going to use le. If you're talking about us, it would be nos. If you're talking about you all familiar, for example, like vosotros, that comes from Spain, you're going to use os. And then if you mean to say them or you all, or any plural statement, you're going to use les. So, very first thing, always make sure you use the correct indirect object pronoun. Rule number 2, determine if the statement is singular or plural. Singular statements are going to use gusta for like and encanta for love. And then plural statements will use encantan for love and gustan for like. And one important detail that a lot of people will make mistakes with is, for example, if you look at this example sentence, me gustan el jugo. Now, because el jugo is singular, people want to use me gusta. But you need to look at what comes after that. If there are more things in the statement, even if it's starting with el, you're going to use gustan because you're talking about plural things. I like the juice, the tea, and the coffee. So therefore, you're going to say, me gustan el jugo, el té, y el café. So just make sure you use the correct singular or plural conjugation forms of the verbs gustar and encantar. Rule number 3, always use the definite articles associated with the noun or nouns in the statement. So, for example, me gusta el plátano, I like the banana, or me gustan los plátanos, I like the bananas. Okay, so always make sure you use el, la, los, and las associated with the noun or nouns in the statement. And rule number 4 that we just went over is that you cannot say you do not love things. You have to degrade that statement to say that you do not like nouns. So another example of this would be no me encanta la cebolla. I do not love onion. You're going to take encanta out and replace it with gusta. So no me gusta la cebolla is a much better statement in Spanish. So just make sure you remember all these 4 rules when you are talking about liking, loving, or disliking nouns. And now for some examples, we're going to play Do the Kitties Like It? As if I needed to ask the question if they like treats. They did that. So, yes, les gustan los kitty treats mucho. Twerp. Ready? No. Twerp. ¿Te gusta la cebolla? No. Pues, a ella le gusta. ¿Les gustan el jamón? Twerp le gusta. Y Twix le gusta. Twix y Twerp les gustan el jamón. ¿Te gustan los pasteles? ¿Te gustan los pasteles? ¿Te gusta el café? ¿Estás seguro? Ella no le gusta el café, pero a mí me encanta el café. Y mi esposo Tim y yo nos encanta el café también. Qué rico. Okay, and here are the examples that I put in the little video clip of Los Gatitos. If you missed anything or would like to see any of the examples all together, then you can pause this and check out any of them that you would like. Okay, ahora vamos a practicar. Now it's your turn. What I would like you to do is translate these sentences into Spanish, and please use your notes with this, especially since you just learned it. Take a few seconds to pause and see how much of this lesson you really understood. Okay, pause now and practice. Okay, ahora let's check your answers. Número 1 should have been Me encanta el yogur. Número 2, Él le gustan las naranjas. One thing I want to emphasize with you is that a lot of people think that since you're saying he likes oranges, then you don't say le. He likes oranges makes sense if you in English if you translate it literally, but you have to include the indirect object pronoun in the sentence, even if you are saying he, she, we, and even if you are saying the person's name, you always have to include that. Okay, so él le gustan las naranjas. You love bacon, te encanta el tocino. Número 4, les gusta el queso. 5, no nos gusta la sopa. Número 6, Natalia le encantan las hamburguesas. Again, even though we are saying her name, we still have to say Natalia le encantan. I know it might seem redundant, but it's actually not the way Spanish does it. So you have to say Natalia le encantan. Número 7, I like pizza and salad. Me gustan la pizza y la ensalada. Make sure you have gustan plural because you're not just saying you like pizza, you're saying two things. You like pizza and salad, which makes the statement plural. So you must use gustan. And then lastly, número 8, you all do not love eggs. Well, this hopefully nobody got tricked by this and remembered rule 4, and that the fact that you cannot say you do not love nouns. So you have to degrade it to say no les gustan los huevos. Now, since this is you all, there's two ways you could make this statement. You could also say no os gustan los huevos. Okay? All right. And hopefully you did very well. So buen trabajo. And that's it. If you have any questions, please make sure you bring them to class, and I will be more than happy to help you. Gracias. Hasta la próxima.